Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to our channel. Some few years ago, Nigerians were indeed crying during the reign and time of President Muhammadu Buhari, the late President Muhammadu Buhari, about the issues, the works, and ills done by the Miyetti Allah group. Of course, a lot of things went down, but it looks as if all of that past deeds are now being presented before the U.S. Senate. Let's quickly look into the news proper and hear what both the U.S. Senate and the United States President Donald Trump is saying concerning the issue of insecurity and the next line of action concerning the militia groups operating very freely in the Nigerian soil. But before we go into the news proper, kindly subscribe to our channel. According to the news, the U.S. House of Reps approved sanctions on MACBAN, Miyetti Allah, and ethnic militias. Now, the sponsors decried the alleged worsening persecution of most Nigerians and other religious minorities and Christians. They cited a catalogue of findings and reports that informed the measure, including media accounts and NGO data alleging large-scale moves against civilians, destruction of places of worship, and pattern of impunity. And the resolution reads in part, and I quote, "For over a decade, Islamic terror organizations have carried out mass bringing down of people and other sort of atrocities targeted against mostly Nigerians and Nigerian Christians, non-Fulani moderate Muslim populations, resulting in mass displacement and destruction of places of worship. Prominent Christians and Muslim leaders have been brought down, some taken away, including priests, pastors, imams who advocate for religious tolerance. Religious leaders such as Father Remigius Ihiola and Bishop Wilfred Anagbe, who testified on March 12, 2025 at a hearing of the House Foreign Affairs Committee about the persecution and targeted bringing down of people in the Diocese of Makurdi, have faced intimidations and harassment from both the extremist group and government authorities themselves. Supporters of the measure argued that the CPC redesignation will strengthen diplomatic leverage to press Nigeria for accountability and protection of religious minorities. Now, the designation of Nigeria as a CPC country of concern will enhance diplomatic effort to encourage the Nigerian government to take necessary actions to protect religious minorities and uphold fundamental human rights, they said. They therefore moved that President Donald Trump acted appropriately and decisively to redesignate Nigeria as a CPC and hold the Nigerian government accountable for its complicity in religious persecution by radical Islamists such as Boko Haram and Fulani terrorists. They further recommended conditioning the U.S. foreign assistance on demonstrable steps by Nigeria to prevent prosecute alleged perpetrators and care for displaced populations. Now, the State Department should provide immediate humanitarian assistance directly to faith-based groups to support internally displaced people in Nigeria's Middle Belt states. The United States, through the Department of State and Department of Treasury, should impose targeted sanctions, including visa bans and asset freezes under the global Magnitsky framework and other restrictive measures on individuals and entities responsible for several violations of religious freedom in Nigeria, including sanctions against Miyetti Allah Kautal Association of Nigeria, which is MACBAN, and Miyetti Allah Kautal, and should place Fulani ethnic militias operating in Benue and Plateau State on the entities of particular concern list under the International Religious Freedom Act, the resolution read. Now, the resolution also asked the U.S. to justify the purposes and amount of recent security and development assistance to Nigeria and to tie future support to improve human rights outcomes. Now, the resolution was referred to the House Foreign Affairs Committee and the Judicial Committee for further consideration. If it advances out of the committee, the resolution will mark a clear congressional signal backing Trump's CPC decision and could open the door to further legislative. My colleague is in the House. What's your take on this move made by U.S. congressmen, and also backing the U.S. president on both Miyetti Allah Kautal and all other militias operating very freely in Nigerian soil?
All right, thank you so much. Now, for me, I think all of this is traceable to poor diplomatic relationship between Nigeria and the United States of America and other countries of the world. When President Bola Tinubu came on board, there was much emphasis on that. But for some reasons based known to him, in the name of cost-cutting and all of that, which we've not even felt, the issue of diplomatic representation was not there. And since it was not there, just as you have clearly spotted out in the news, someone went there to testify, in their Congress. Now, it would have been...
Well, he's not lying.
Yeah, he's not lying, but, if there was a diplomatic representation for Nigeria, he would have also been asked to come and also put one or two input on that statement the person made, you understand? And then you will know how to create a balance, because interestingly, oftentimes when such a thing happens, those who are directly affected by it may speak out of emotion and pouring out their emotions.
But there are video evidence.
There are video evidence, but then there's a way of presentation that would trigger what we are seeing today. That's why, despite the fact that Bola Tinubu is trying to do everything to see how he can, coddle Trump and would not want him to take the moves he's about to take, the man seems not to be listening. And it's quite shocking that President Bola Tinubu is scared of traveling down to the US to meet with Donald Trump, because I was expecting, as at now, that there should be 3, 4, 5 some very strong persons who are face Trump, at least for once, that will accompany him down there. I don't know, don't forget that our senior president should not be a part of it, because he's scared of them.
You told the world, who am I?
Exactly. Maybe the deputy senior president, Barrow, or Jibril Barrow, will go there.
To be running there by saying quote.
So that's it. But we cannot ignore the fact that those guys weigh an embarrassment, security embarrassment to Nigeria.
I'm telling you, the Fulani
they went extra mile. I mean, even up till today, as we're talking, in Kwara State, those other Southwest, Lawrence and all of that, these guys, they are putting their imprint on those places.
There's some places they've sacked the natives.
Natives.
They have taken it
in
over.
Plateau State.
Particularly that
Plateau State. They have sacked.
Benue, they've sacked, they've taken over the community, they've renamed it.
So you can imagine all of that. That's why I said right now, the move taken by the United States of America, it's needful. Whether the president likes it or not, this is a perennial problem for Nigeria. Up till today, not even one government have been able to solve half of it. Jonathan was able to do a little bit. President Bola Tinubu, the other guy, Obasanjo also did. But when Buhari came on board, he was even consolidating on something. We have to tell, whether the person is alive or not, we have to tell his stories. We have to tell his tales. When he came on board, he didn't do anything about it. All what we were hearing, I mean, imagine if the issue of grazing, all those policies that open grazing was carried out, prevention of open grazing was carried out. Those guys would have been cornered, kept in one place, and then given enough land, especially in the northern part of Nigeria, give them as much money as they need. Not too much money, because if you're doing that to them, because that's their personal business, you should do the same to the Nibos, who are also into importation and all of that. But then give them that leverage and financial support for them to. But nobody looked that direction.
But the funny
and here
part
we
is,
are.
if they even do that, it will encourage other Fulanis from other countries of the world to
come here
and see Nigeria,
and they will keep breaking I mean, we need to come to terms with this reality. Now, another interesting part of it is that those who are those who are in charge of all of these guys, they should create time to tutor them rightly. Because this nonsense of it is our country, that I don't know who put those nonsense in their brain. Now go to a country like Saudi Arabia and see the level of development going on there. You are talking about what's that? Jihad, jihad. Why is it that there's no jihad in Saudi Arabia? Why is it that we are not hearing jihad in some of the other Muslim countries? Why? Because they've come to terms with one reality, which is we've got to push as much as we can in terms of agriculture, in terms of development, in terms of, digital economy, to see how we can secure a greater part of the people and be of great impact to the world, than to allow this religious sentiment to keep ruling us. Ask yourself one big question: has the Christian ever captured anybody and forced him to be a Christian? Of course no. Why should you be doing it? Because that is what is causing this. Fulani hates men and the rest. They need to be tackled. Put them on check. And let the world realize that you're doing something about it, not to be in power and nobody's feeling anything. You're only telling us stories. Nonsense GDP figures are being rolled out every day. We are not even feeling anything that you are doing. This is one thing that must be looked into.
All right, let's go wrap it up. Let's listen up.